Hey guys, John Di Lemme here. That's right. Get ready for a very special CBJ Real News podcast show. As you can see, the title says Mike Lindell, a blast from the real past. You know, as many of you know, and you've heard me share this, every day I do 1 to 2 hours a day of focused learning. I call it self-development. That's why our parent company of Conservative Business Journal is Di Lemme Development Group, Inc., our company for 20 years. I've been writing and teaching and speaking and learning and, sharing messages. I've been blessed to travel the entire world speaking. My wife and I have been in 26 different countries, every state in America, every province in Canada, prior to Canada becoming a communist country. And I say that respectfully because there's so many people out there who are wannabes, grifters. I did something about reputation management. There are people that, my identity got stolen, so I have no identity online. It's a complete fraud. They have reputation management because they're really scamming people, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. I'll be 57 this year. I've been teaching and writing for a little over 20 years. And as I said, I do 1 hour to 2 hours a day. I grab a pen that writes, I take notes and I learn. I grab one of my books or one of my journals I've written over the years and I learn, I activate my mind because the biggest weapon we have against the radical left and the cabal and what's going on here in America is we the people as individuals. That's why I have my Faith Stands in Fear On shirt on tonight. So we have to stand by faith. 5 words says it all. And I want to thank so many of you. We had a record-breaking weekend this weekend for all of you that are supporting us through and our vendors through conservativemarketplace.com. Conservativemarketplace.com it was so many of you from a variety of products and services, from our shirts to our hats to our jewelry to our accessories to Dr. Chris's book to all of the wide variety of health supplements to our Conservative Business Journal, CBJ Real News, swagwear line, or Let's Go Brandon line. As you know, we had Jared on this past week in a podcast show where he called in on Christmas Eve and actually unleashed and said, "Let's go, Brandon," to Joe Biden. Joe Biden responded back to him and said, "I agree." As you know, that was an epic show this week. Make sure you watch the replay. So I want to thank all of you. I was actually going to read and recognize all of you, all the different orders that came in for Conservative Marketplace, but because of time constraints, that would take me a little bit of time here. I want to thank all of you because I want to get to a great episode. But I thank all of you that visit conservativemarketplace.com. Shop around. Our 5G protection is skyrocketing. I want to thank so many of you. I mean, that is, we had 2 epic shows over the last 7 days. One with Dr. Betsy exclusively about 5G protection. And then one the other evening with Dr. Betsy and Dr. Krista. And any question you have about my past podcast shows, you can't find them, you can't locate them. And I understand technology. You can always call or text us at 561-847-3467, 561-847-3467. Any questions? Call or text us or email us team at Conservative Marketplace. Excuse me, at conservativebusinessjournal.com. Once again, team at conservativebusinessjournal.com. We are here to assist you, come alongside of you, empower you, encourage you, because we've been in this with one mission at hand: to encourage and empower and strengthen fellow patriots to stand up for our conservative values, and that's it. That's just our motive, our mission, that we're built on integrity, we're built on honor. And June 2020, we had an epic show. It was called Keep the USA Red Rally. That was when the country was in massive lockdown, June 2020. And we had a 3-hour online, incredible rally of some great speakers and influence. And I've been podcasting for years. That was when we banned. I think we were banned on YouTube at that point. No, we weren't banned yet on YouTube. We had 2 million subscribers on YouTube. We had 5,000 videos, and you'll actually see me. I'm going to share right now. Mike Lindell was on that rally for 29 minutes and 34 seconds. It's an unbelievable interview with Mike Lindell. I say blast in the past because that was June 2020. That was before the election was stolen. So you get to see Mike Lindell in a different light, and you'll hear me interview and ask Mike great questions about his book. And that was before we had the promo code. That was before Mike was doing promo codes, for MyPillow.com. So obviously right now, you guys know, especially all you patriots, you see promo codes from all varieties of companies and podcast shows and radio shows and events. We appreciate that when you visit MyPillow.com, because you'll see during this entire interview, we had tens of thousands of people live on that show that night. And there was no MyPillow code. So when you guys do visit MyPillow.com, feel free to use promo code CBJ, and receive up to 66% off and it's hundreds of items. And we appreciate it. And those of you watching this, go to mypillow.com, place it on, let us know. And what I want to do is, I want to throw in. So I'm going to throw in 5 of our top motivational success American patriotic quotes, from our focus quote to our courage quote to our capitalism quote to our faith quote and to our miracle quote. And we'll throw 2 more in. I'll give you 7 of our motivational patriotic quotes of mine as a bonus. All you do is say, hey, John, I went to mypillow.com, I placed an order, I used promo code CBJ, send us a copy of the receipt, either text us or email us at team at conservativebusinessjournal.com, and we'll bless you and we'll ship out to you 7 of our core cards as a bonus. So today I actually listened to this 30-minute interview with Mike from June of 2020. It's going to be 2 years, 60 days from now. 2 years ago, we had our Keep the USA Red rally, which means I haven't been in this game for just 18 months. It was 2 years ago that I got people together to rally them up in June 2020, which was obviously 5 months before the steal, 5 months before the massive election corruption and massive election fraud. So enjoy this segment. I'm not going to come back in between. I'm going to let it run all the way through to the end, and then we'll end. You'll see me end with Mike there. So I appreciate you guys. God bless you. Once again, thank you for visiting mypillow.com, promo code CBJ. And also thank you for visiting conservativemarketplace.com. I want to thank all of you. Had a record-breaking weekend. Remember, 5% of proceeds goes to Heartbeat of Miami. And I appreciate that, guys. Shop around. Let us know. And especially those of you tonight watching this, or tonight or today, or doing a replay, when you do use promo code CBJ when you visit mypillow.com, you see it there. For those who are watching the video, see it scrolling on the bottom, mypillow.com. Use promo code CBJ to receive up to 66% off your entire order. Just give us a call, give us a text, give us an email, and we will send to you 7 of my motivational, patriotic success quotes to empower you, to encourage you to get into your eye gate. So your eyes is an entry point for faith. What you look at empowers you. That's why you want stuff that you want words that empower you. So, guys, with that said, get ready, enjoy Mike Lindell. And you'll see that that's even before I had this mic. That's before we had the lighting, even our studio set up a little bit different. That's June 2020. So get ready. Enjoy Mike Lindell and myself, John Di Lemme. I had my uniform on that night, my suit and tie, my patriotic tie. That was June 2020. Listen to the core fundamental message. God bless you. Enjoy. And I appreciate you guys obviously following us on all the channels, Telegram, Rumble, and Cloud Hub, at our channel, CBJ Real News, CBJ Real News. This is a show you're going to want to share. Send it out there, share it, take the link, share it everywhere. It's Epic Mike Lindell, June 2020. I really believe you'll appreciate the message. God bless you. Thank you. Pillow, there he is. My man Mike, who was with President Trump on Tuesday. He's with us tonight. And his book cover, all of you, make sure you get Mike's book. What are the odds? From crack addict to CEO. And I love that cover. That's crack addict, and that's a beautiful, phenomenal MyPillow smile. I should have brought my pillow, Mike, and hugged it tonight. MyPillow. Right on. Share your message tonight, brother. I mean, God bless you. And I know you had a great time. You were with the president on Tuesday at the Oval Office. From the Oval Office to Zoom with us. Thank you for Keep the USA Red. You're awesome, Mike.
Yeah, isn't that a miracle? Here I am sitting with the president, vice president, Brad Parscale, Jared Kushner. I mean, everyone there. And they're asking me my advice on, marketing and stuff. And, and it's just surreal for me. It is every day. It's like living inside of a movie. But, how I ended up here, if I can just tell that, it was in my book there. Yeah, I was a crack addict. I was a cocaine addict for years. And then it turned to crack in the early 2000s. But then I had this dream of a pillow. God gave me this dream of a MyPillow. And when it took about a year to invent, and then all these things happened. I had betrayal. I was turned down everywhere, and ended up doing home shows and fairs for years. And it gets to be, I lost a 20-year marriage, had all these things happen, and I'm kind of fast forwarding through those, from 2004 to 2009. Well, then in 2009, I ended up quitting everything overnight by the grace of God. I was completely I didn't have any monetary things up, but I wanted to show with God all things are possible. That with I made sure I didn't have anything left. And people say, "Is that your bottom?" But I woke up and I just prayed to God. I said, "I don't want to wake up. I want to wake up in the morning and never have the desire again." And I quit cocaine, crack, alcohol, everything overnight. And a couple months later, though, I ended up at a treatment center, a faith-based treatment center, and to find out why I was an addict in the first place. And it goes back to father wounds. It goes beyond. Mine was a divorce when I was 7, and I learned a lot. There were a lot of seeds that were planted during that faith-based treatment. But then, because for me, the miracle is, here I am speaking, and I was a person that couldn't, when I quit everything, that was a crutch. It was like I never talked to people I didn't know. If people have fear of speaking in public. Well, mine was magnified tenfold. Well, in 2011, we went to, I said, you know what, if nobody's going to take us, I said, you guys, let's all I told my friends and family, let's pool our money. And I said, I had a dream of an infomercial. And everybody told me, no, that won't work. You need an actor, and no infomercials work. It's just to get in the box stores, which had already turned me down. So, and I said, no, I said, I don't believe that. I said, anything is possible. And I just, with my passion, went out there. We had a real audience, and just a friend of mine, and we filmed it in August of 2011 in St. Paul, Minnesota. But the funny thing was, this guy came in the night before, this producer from California, and we're doing our reads, and he texts the other guy. He said, this guy's the worst guy I've ever seen. He'll never be on TV. And the other guy says, he's paying you, just let it go, And the next day I went out there, and I was petrified. I ended up, I said, take the teleprompter away, and they brought in just a table, and I just did it naturally, like I had done all those years on the road, with my product, every day doing shows throughout the Midwest. I did it just like that, and it aired. It went off great. Then the rest of the time, I didn't have the nervousness. Well, it aired October 7, 2011 at 3 a.m. I was living in my sister's basement with nothing left in the world. And ended up going from 5 or 10 employees to 540 days.
There you go.
And but I'll tell you, one of the things, though, not to tie this into where I'm at today, MyPillow exploded. But when I looked around me, when I came out of addiction, I'm going, I didn't know anything about politics. I had never voted. I didn't know a Democrat from a liberal, from a conservative. I didn't know any of this stuff. But what I did see around me, I seen all my friends were laid off. I see people losing their houses, a horrible economy. I go, what happened? What did I miss, guys? What did I miss?
That's right.
And I'd already lost my house. In fact, I lost 2 of them. But everybody else it was just really bad. And I'm going, what happened? And then you had a president giving money to evil empires, and I'm going, where's the common sense here? Well, then in the summer of 2016. Actually, it was in 2015, I had a dream that I would be in a room with Donald Trump. I go, why would I be in a room with Donald Trump? And that's in my book, actually. And I, about a month later after that, all of a sudden, Donald Trump runs for president. And I'm going, wow. This is going to mean something here. Well, in the summer of 2016, I went over to Israel, actually, in between. And I went over there, and I asked a friend on the plane, I said, what's a liberal? What's a conservative? And I asked every question you could think of about politics and politicians, and I'm going, are you kidding me? All the common sense and all my values fell right here.
Conservative.
I didn't understand this line in the sand. I go, where's the crossover? And where's it made no sense to me how anybody could think like this over here on a lot of the issues. And so then I started, I ended up in the summer of 2016, and I ended up, God started putting me in different positions. Like I ended up at the National Prayer Breakfast. I'd never been there before, and I picked out of 12 people to pray with Ben Carson in a room. And I'm going, yeah.
Dr. Ben wrote the forward to your book, Dr. Ben Carson.
Yeah. And I was just at his house Tuesday night. We were playing pool. And we became very good.
Is he good in pool, Dr. Ben?
He's very good. He beat me 5-1, and but usually we go back and forth. And but he had me. In fact, he was up 3-0, and he goes. I said, okay, that's I thought it was time to head upstairs. He goes, "Oh no, we're going to play till you win a game," which means he's, he wanted to see how long the winning streak was going to go.
Persistence and faith.
What's that?
Persistence and faith, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I finally won a game. He would have played probably up 2 a.m, probably been 12-0 by then. But these things started happening, and it was like God setting up this, this amazing setup. And I'm going, what is all this meaning? And we prayed there that we ended up becoming good friends. But that's when he was still running for president. Then in the summer of 2016, I was on a plane going to California, and I'd had the dream a year earlier, and I got up to 10,000 feet, and I had my phone set to where it dinged if you had an email. I hadn't turned that off yet, and all of a sudden, I'm reading this magazine about Donald Trump, and I go, God, what do I have to do with Donald Trump? I know I've seen this. I need an answer here. And at that moment in time, my phone dinged. Hello, Mike. This is Donald Trump. Will you meet me in Trump Tower in New York City? And going, God, it happened at that moment, and I'm going, and the flight attendant's going, are you okay? I go, yes, it's a miracle, and because it was these things that kept happening. And anyway, I go to meet him on August 15, 2016. And I walked into his office. They said, you'll never meet him alone. There'll be people there. Don't tell him you were a crack addict and all this stuff. Well, I walked in, it was just him and I. One of the first things I said, I was a crack addict. I did everything you're not supposed to say, I guess. Well, it was just amazing, because all the things that I see affecting our daily lives, he had common sense, right. Just like him and I talking back, common sense solutions that we talked back and forth for over a half hour. And I'm going, wow. And anyway, I end up going all in. I walked out of his office, I go, was that real? And I talked to his employees, and every one of them was like talking to one of mine. It was like they all said great things about him, great boss. No, he's the greatest. He'll, such a gift of common sense and all these different things. And so I get back to Minnesota, and I go, you know what? I told my board I'm going all in. They go, oh, you're going to hurt our business. You're going to hurt our business. I said, this is what God wants me to do. That's right. I know it. And right. I ended up going all in, and guess what? I do a press release saying I met Donald Trump, and the media, who usually I'm their darling, back then, they just attacked me. They called me a racist. They called me everything you could think of. I'm going, what did I do? They don't even know what we talked about. And awesome, and that just made me go all in more. I mean, right. I just put the pedal down. I went all in. I ended up the second, third debate. The Better Business Bureau took me from an A+ to an F. Still there, by the way. I left it right where it was. That's just fantastic. Good. One of the most corrupt organizations in the country, and they paid per play, all those guys. So I got sued by lawyers in California, just attacked. But you know what? I came through it. I did what I was supposed to do. And then people say to me all the time, Mike, what's your busiest day ever? The day we're in. Well, now, and then where we're at now. So what have I learned from all this? The last 3 years, I'm going, wow. Not only does he have a good gift of problem solution, but he knows what it's going to manifest to. That's just amazing. And I've learned about how all these things affect our daily lives. And everybody should know that now. Anybody that's in this country should know what politics are doing to our everyday life. You would just come out of a terrible pandemic we're in, and then they do politicize all these things. And where did it start? Minnesota. I mean, all this Minnesota, right? There's politics in Minnesota. It's horrible. Well, anyway, before this, one of the biggest problems that the president was going to face before the pandemic was addiction. Him and I talked about addiction when we had first talked about 3 years ago. And I view it as an opportunity, as the greatest revival in history, to bring people back to God. So this is, and I was setting up the Lindell Recovery Network, and then the pandemic hits, and let me tell you, I have to end up at the Rose Garden. There you go. I'll tell you that story quick. Yeah,
I want to interject. This is very important. Everyone listening, we actually got emails, Mike, and texts like, I know you promote Mike Lindell, but he was a Rosemary God. He almost shook the president's hand. I said, that's God taking him over. That was the Holy Spirit. That was the anointed coming through Mike. And I think everyone to pay attention. The Rosemary Garden story is Rose Garden. Rose Garden story is tremendous with Mike and President Trump. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you the backstory, which nobody knows. This wasn't in the media. On Tuesday, the Tuesday before, MyPillow had to lay off 200 employees, and then we started getting in making masks, and I told my son, I said, hire them all back, and I said something big's going to happen. We got to make these masks, right? Well, anyway, so that Thursday, I get a thing from the White House, from the Vice President's office that said, would you come for a roundtable? Well, and they said, and then one of my assistants said, they want you to write remarks for the roundtable event. I go, what do you mean write remarks? Yeah, what you're doing with the masks and stuff and making them and helping out the country. And I said, I've been to roundtables before at the White House. I'd been to 2 other ones. I said, you don't have to write remarks. I'm not going to go by that anyway. And I said, oh, just write them down. So they wrote them down and read them back. And I go, yeah, that's fine. So I put them in my pocket anyway. I saved them. And so I fly out to Washington, D.C. that Monday. And I just felt like something was going to happen. And now I realized I've been watching TV. So I had no idea they were doing press conferences. And we go in for this round table. And we get in there, and there's the Honeywell CEO. There's all these CEOs, like 4 of them and myself, the vice president, and then we start going around the table talking about what we're doing and stuff, but nobody was reading from their paper. Then the president came in, and we talked for a little bit, and all of a sudden we go to leave, and the vice president goes, I go, we didn't read our remarks, and he goes, oh, no, we're going to have a press conference outside in the Rose Garden, and the president might call you up to say something or to read them. And I go, okay, now it made sense why they had to be pre-approved. Well, anyway, then we all went in the other room by the Oval Office, and I'm sitting there, the president's sitting over here, and the vice president, the CEOs are here, and I pulled out that sheet of paper, and I go, I'm not going to read this. This is just blah, 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 blah. So I started crossing stuff out there.
That's awesome.
And I flipped it over, and I go, I want to give the people a message of hope. And I wrote this, and I'm writing down, God gave us grace on November 8, 2016. And I said, God had been taken out of our schools, and God had been, a nation had turned its back on God. And I start writing this, and then I got these arrows going down, and things are crossed out, and I'm going to recopy it on a piece of paper. And all of a sudden, the president gets up, well, we got to head out there. And I'm going, oh, no. And on the way out, I had one prayer. I go, God, please let me read my writing. Please show me how to read my writing. And I get up there, and they put me right in front of the podium, and next to the vice president. Well, I didn't know we were all supposed to go around the side. So when the president called us up, I went straight up, and then they stopped the other ones because I had done it wrong. We didn't practice anything. So I believe God lined that up too. And then when I got up there and gave the speech, I couldn't wait to get through the blah, 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 blah. And I flipped the page over. That's when I asked him, could I say something off the cuff? And which I'm glad I did that, because they would have probably thought we were in cahoots on this when it was all me, and that I got this download from God. But when I said this, now I went back inside, and I was with the president inside for probably a couple hours afterwards, or at least in the White House for a couple hours. And they had my phone, and I went to leave there, and my phone blew up. I had 753 text messages.
There you go.
I didn't know how many people knew my number. And then I go, what did I do? And I look at Twitter, and it said, but all the haters are on there, just like they are today. Boycott Mike Lindell. And then the other ones will go, don't boycott him. He'll double his ads. We see enough of that guy.
That's right.
But it was just amazing, because I did 120 interviews in 9 days, and all over the world, because it was and why was it controversial to sit home, pray, read your Bibles, and spend time with your family? And I'll tell you what I've learned is how politics, since that time, now we've had all these, I view this whole thing, when we come out of this, it's an opportunity for the biggest revival in history.
Right.
I believe that the Democrats, again, crazy leftists have exposed themselves of what they are, who they are, how socialism is, how it works. I have friends of mine that live downtown Minneapolis, right, where I spent a lot of time doing crack. And there was the exact locations, and they're calling me up going, Mike, they're ruining my businesses. These guys now have grown up and they have businesses too, like I do. It was terrible that what went on there. And then to have mistakes made, like our governor brings in 200 after the president said, hey, I'll help you. No, I don't want your help. Well, he brings in 200 National Guard instead of bringing them all in. And it's like, and this was after the fact almost. And it's like, if you got a flood coming that's going to be an anomaly and you got 1,000 sandbags, you got, just give me 20 of them. I think that'll be enough. That's playing politics with people's lives and businesses, and it's our president too, we were talking the other day, and I'll tell you what, this was, what happened was that had nothing to do with race. There's bad people in all walks of life. What it has to do is we're living in a time 50 years ago when you didn't have head cams, you didn't have cell phones. Now we have that technology. You have to change the thing, and they can't be immune, or you can't give them you have to at least bring them in for probable cause right away like everybody else. It's very simple. What good is a head cam if you're never going to use it? And what the people were protesting about is they don't get charged right away because that's the system we're in right now. These things have to be changed and just caught up. Most of the cops are great, but you're going to have bad people in all walks of life, and they've got to be, and if they commit a crime, it's just that they don't get charged right away, and you should just change that law. And it would be a problem solution that would be it would be very easy. I mean, now you're hearing these crazy things. Defund the police. Are you kidding me? You got people in Chicago going, "Oh, Minneapolis, here we come." I mean, it's but what I've learned in it, it's like, and I learned real fast. I see how politics affects everything we do, not just. I mean, that affects everything in our daily lives. So, what we've had with this great president is problem solutions, and what is manifest to it. I think everybody, as long as everybody's memories don't get too short here. Just a few months ago, we had everything was the greatest ever before the pandemic and what was going on now. And who do we have? Who would we want more than Donald Trump in this administration to fix this? Because he will get fixed. We're going to come out of it better than ever. We're going to have a nation that's one nation under God, and it's going to be amazing. This is going to, right now, it looks bad. You have stuff going on all over, but once things are put in the proper solutions, it'll be amazing.
And Mike, just sharing all of you once again, Mike Lindell is a featured guest on my Conservative Business Journal podcast series, and Mike Lindell is just a tremendous story. His book is a must read. I love you started with a rented shed in the beginning of the book, and it's some great stories. But the word faith, we had this discussion when I interviewed you. One of my quotes is, "Faith doesn't make sense. That's why it makes miracles." A lot of people need faith, especially people. Like somebody asked a question that they want to get into politics, but they've had an issue with drugs, alcohol, and gambling, and kind of similar to what you went through.
Right.
Everyone tonight, listen to what Mike's going to share. How important is faith? What are the odds? I mean, for you, and it's not that many years ago. Remember, he said 2011 was the infomercial year, and it's 2020. So when you step out in faith, all of us, we stepped out in faith and launched the Conservative Business Journal. My wife we've been called everything, racist, bigot, once you step out in faith, God will protect and provide for you. So share with everyone, Mike, how important faith is. Really listen.
God was always chasing me. And, I wasn't saved till February 18, 2017. That's a whole other story in the book. But I want to tell everyone out there, if you want to think that God exists, use mathematics. That's what I use all the time. I go, wow, what the odds of this happening? A 1 in a million? What are the odds of 1 in a billion? Or this thing could never happen. And you add them together, when does it become a miracle? I mean, every single one of us has a calling. Every single one of us has seen things happen and going, this is impossible. And the things that if you look back and you see, how did I get through this, or how did this? And people say to me all the time, they go, well, Mike, I prayed for this and it didn't happen. Well, that's great, because you know what? That might not have been God's will. And where is God's will? God's will is in the Word. You get in the Word, you get in the Bible, just like I said from the Rose Garden, and you get there and you can be proactive in your prayers. And that's where I'm at. I get proactive. For MyPillow, God's the chairman of our board. I mean, I pray about all the decisions I make. And you know what? more times than not. I mean, we take a leap of faith. Just like when I told my son to hire everyone back, our busiest day, we went up, we exploded. I didn't know that the Rose Garden people then were buying, just with the attacks coming in. I mean, more people. I want to say there's very few haters when you take it to the whole population. They just have the biggest voices from the media. Right. They have the biggest voices. But I'll tell you, faith right now, I mean, I was with this guy last fall, and in fact, I just talked to him the other day, and there's going to be some big news coming in about 10 days, which I'll tease that a little bit now. But him and I last year were talking. This is before the pandemic, and he said, Mike, I think he's like 80 years old. He said, Mike, people do not look to God unless something bad happens. Like he goes, it would take the Great Depression to get our country back to God, because we've taken them out of our schools and taken them out of our kids and all this. And we become a godless society. And I said, no. I said, we have something better than the Great Depression. I said, with the Great Depression, we had people were praying. They had God, but they were praying for food and structural things, but now I said, we have addiction. Everybody's affected by addiction. I said, it doesn't matter how many forks you eat with. It's not just I was a very functioning addict. And I told him this, and I said, this is an opportunity where people are reaching out for God, for their souls, for salvation. And I said, this is the opportunity of a lifetime for the greatest revival in history. And then along comes this pandemic, where everybody's they're praying for normalcy now. Then you got that followed by these riots, and followed by everyone, the people, what it's doing is people, if you want to take politics, people that were over here to the left, they're going, wow, they better rethink this and going, are you serious? If you really, dissect some of these things going on and going, what are they doing? Where's the common sense? Just one little thing. Okay, you have rioters in a state with a governor out there hanging out with them, and all of a sudden now you don't need masks, you don't need to social distance. I mean, the only ones wearing masks are the people breaking into the buildings. They don't want to be seen on camera. Give me a break. I mean, this is just craziness. And but we all got to keep praying because we're going to get through this. I'm an optimist, but the reason I'm the biggest optimist ever is because of the Lord.
That's awesome. I just want to finish, Mike. I know your time is very precious. You're guys, all of you, Mike Lindell live, listen to his words, grab a hold of his book, read his book. I want to read part of our creed. Obviously, we're the Conservative Business Journal. And I want to read it, and I'll ask you a question on it. Part of our creed, it says, our goal is to conserve and protect the conservative values of honesty, hard work, and integrity that are the rock-solid foundation of America. We support our president, respect the American flag, stand side by side with fellow Americans, cling to our Bibles for hope, believe in God, and will forever fight for the country that we call home, the United States of America. We wrote this close to 3.5 years ago, my wife and I. How important is hard work, integrity, and the flag in this country?
It's so important. I mean, that's another thing. You just can't, you can have faith and go, but you still got to make choices. You keep in your faith, but you got to make choices, and it's hard work. For years, I spent 7 years. I said, how many people told me you can't make your product here? You're going to have to make it overseas. You need an actor, Mike. You're never going to get a patent. They laughed at me. I just kept working hard and believing. And, only in the United States can you here's an ex-crack addict. My friends see me the first time I was at the White House sitting in the
picture in the book. It's phenomenal. That's Mike as a crack addict. You flip the book.
Yeah.
Wow. That's without Mike. So this is without the pillow. This is before you slept with the pillow. That's bad pillow, good pillow. Bad pillow, good pillow.
But here's like only in America, only in the United States. First time I go into the White House, I'll tell this story quickly. When I was a kid, I was I'm still a huge Elvis fan. And I seen in about 1972 or something, there was a famous picture where Elvis Presley and Richard Nixon were in the picture together. And I'm going, wow, you have to be Elvis Presley to be able to meet a president. It wasn't the other way around for me, right? Well, I walked into the White House for the first time in the summer of 2017, invited for a Made in the USA summit. I walk in there, and there's that picture on the wall as I walked into the White House of Elvis and Nixon. I go, wow, here I am. And I thought, there's no way I'm going, with my record, I figured there's no way in history I'd even be step foot in the White House. I walk in and here's this big old round table and my name tag's there and there's no name tag next to me. I said, who's sitting here? He said, the president is. When that went live on national TV, my friends are at home going, what is this ex-crack addict doing on TV sitting next to the president? Jesus is real, because this is impossible. But it is possible. With God, all things are possible, and anyone can do anything they want in the United States of America with hard work, with passion, and persistence. And it's amazing.
I think that's because a couple of people asked, and you just answered: hard work, persistence, and God. You know, what would Mike say to business owners and entrepreneurs about not quitting during tough times? Final question, Mike, and then we'll let you go enjoy Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay. Is that the final? That was the final one?
Yeah. No. In other words, what would you say to business owners that entrepreneurs to kind of stick through tough times? And when you read, Mike's book, he's got.
Oh yeah. I want people to see. There's my story. My book. That's the story of hope. And you look around you. You don't give up and don't let anyone ever tell you can't do something. I mean, that's what I think for me to be out there now. My calling is to tell my story, is to spread that hope, and to entrepreneur to never give up because it's your dream. And I will say this too: if you're an entrepreneur, make sure you enjoy what you're doing and you have passion for it. Because if you're doing something you don't like, whether it's a business or whatever, if you don't have that passion, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be able to get by and keep that drive up.
That's awesome. Mike Lindell, everyone around the country, keep the USA Online Red Virtual Rally. Everyone give Mike a huge round of applause. Mike, we love you, brother. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. And your team is awesome. I think, what's Kaylee? Caitlin is awesome. We love Caitlin.
And by the way, everyone, we will be winning Minnesota. You heard it here first. I just told the president the other night, he goes, are we going to win, Mike? You're the chairman. He made me chairman of the Trump campaign for Minnesota. I said, Mr. President, they're making it easy on us there. I mean, I think it's people want the change in Minnesota so bad you can't even imagine.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. You're awesome, brother. Love you. God bless you. Pray for you. And everyone, grab a hold of Mike's pillow. Remember, this is what he was before the pillow. But there it is. Before the pillow. There it is. Bad pillow. Oh, my pillow. And you hear the music. I never got a good night's sleep. You're awesome, Mike. Love you, brother. God bless you. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, God bless you.
Thank you.